with Kevin O'Connell in the locker room, and just understanding that, this is the 5th loss in 6 games.
How did the Vikings get in this situation? Well, let's rewind it back to week 8, where the Vikings played the Packers at Lambeau Field. And the game starts off pretty normal. The Vikings steal the ball from the Packers, and they get it, and they get a touchdown, making it 7-0. And then the Vikings force a 3-and-out, but the Packers do too, forcing the Vikings to settle for a field goal. And then after that, the Packers drive down the field to get a field goal, making it 10-3 at halftime. The Vikings driving down the field once again, getting an amazing touchdown, amazing throw, making it 17-3 in the third quarter. And the Packers' drive is shaky, which leads to a Jordan Love interception throw. And the Vikings get good return yards from it. And the play after that, Kirk Cousins throws an amazing ball to make it 24-3. The Packers drive down the field to get an amazing touchdown throw. And unknowingly, that would be the final score of this game. And this would put the 3-4 Vikings at a perfect 500, right? Well, that'd come with a cost.
Well, Cousins down again. Kenny Clark.
Kirk gets injured.
So a terrific stand by the Green Bay defense.
And you just watch Kirk Cousins' eyes. You saw how he was extremely uncomfortable. As soon as he goes, he pumps one time, and then there's the issue. Right now, he's limping over to the sideline. Really hope that he's okay.
Later that day, news comes out that Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins is going to be out for the whole season because of a torn Achilles. And the Vikings have a few options for their quarterback situation. They can get Jaron Hall, which is a rookie and who they started, or a guy who they can trade for. They were looking and they found a man from Arizona, 6'3", 194 pounds, 29-year-old Joshua Dobbs, aka the Pastronaut. So they trade for Joshua Dobbs, and they give a first-rounder in 2025 and a sixth-rounder in 2026. And so the Vikings acquire Joshua Dobbs, and he will gear up for the game against Atlanta. And lo and behold, Joshua Dobbs throws an amazing touchdown that won the Vikings the game. Not even a week in Minnesota, and Joshua Dobbs pulls out a touchdown, and things are looking good for the Vikings. It looks like they have their man for the rest of the season. And now the Vikings play the Saints. And lo and behold, he actually has a really, really good game. And surprisingly, the Vikings win another game with Josh Dobbs. And now they're 6-4 with a final score of 31-28. Vikings win. So the following week, they play a very hot Broncos team. I'm talking, they went 0-5, and they came back, now they're 4-5. Primetime game. And the Josh Dobbs fairy tale is what seems to be burning out, because Joshua Dobbs has not a terrific game. He has an okay game against the Broncos, and the Broncos winning 21-20, bringing the Vikings down to 6-5. And the Vikings at this point aren't worried about their quarterback situation right now. I mean, yeah, it sucks that Kirk Cousins was injured, but their backup quarterback, Joshua Dobbs, he's been playing terrific. And yes, the tough loss, but in their mind at that point in time, will get over the loss. But that all changed when the Bears played the Vikings. So, the game they played was actually probably one of the most boring games in the 2023 NFL season. Actually, there's two runner-ups, both having the Vikings in both games. But Joshua Dobbs having a horrible game. The final score was 6-12, or 10-12 actually. But Josh Dobbs just had a horrible game. And at this point, the Vikings were starting to get a little bit worried. They were back at 500 again. And they have to look forward to next week where they played the Raiders. And now this game, I think, has to be the worst game in this NFL season. Because it was punt after punt after punt, sack after sack after sack, interceptions, fumbles, and it just, the score looked like a soccer score. Okay, 3-0, Vikings on top. Josh Dobbs had a horrible game, and so they actually took out Josh Dobbs in place of a new guy by the name of Nick Mullins. And now they're experimenting with Nick Mullins. The Joshua Dobbs experiment is over. And so after two heartbreaking losses, they play the Bengals. Nick Mullins has a really good game. And sadly, that would not cut it because the Bengals got a crazy touchdown. T. Higgins, a beautiful catch, and just a smart play, bringing it into overtime. The Bengals get a field goal, and that ended the game. 24-27, Bengals won, bringing the Vikings 7-7. And people are calling it a collapse. A midseason collapse by the Vikings, because before all of these losses, they were in tension of winning the NFC North. But now, not so much. So they move on to play the Lions. And in classic Vikings fashion, they lose yet another game, bringing them to 7-8. And they have 2 more games the next week. That game will decide who makes the playoffs. The Vikings or the Packers. The last time these two teams played, the Packers were 2-5, looking like they were definitely going to miss the postseason. And the Vikings winning, though quarterback injured for the season. A divisional matchup between two teams wanting it all, sneaking into the playoffs. And this Packers team is tough. They've overcome all of their challenges and now they're fighting for a playoff spot, same as the Vikings. Instead of starting Nick Mullins, they actually start Jaren Hall for this game, which basically determines who will make the postseason. So Jaren Hall throws a pass, it's deflected off the hands and intercepted. And this is basically the story of the game. As what you're going to witness is a Jordan Love masterclass, amazing throw. And in this game, the Vikings had no chance of winning this game at all. They had no flow. They had nothing. And for me, as a Packers fan, I was happy about that. But obviously, Vikings, this was truly a collapse, midseason collapse. And as they tend to do almost every year, they either lose and miss the playoffs or win, make the playoffs, and lose in the first round. And it's just average Vikings things. They would have to do something crazy to get into the postseason. Obviously, that didn't happen. They'd need like a Atlanta Saints tiebreaker, the Packers Seahawks loss, and just a lot of crazy stuff. Obviously, that wouldn't happen. And their start, 6-4. Their season ended 7-10. And a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I will be doing mid-season collapse series. Every Monday and Friday there will be a new episode. Obviously starting off with the Vikings. Stay tuned. Please subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.